Test.
She is
Testing, one, two, three, testing. Good morning. How's that? Good? Fabulous. We're
it's live. Okay. Yeah, I can turn it off. Yeah. turn it back to you.
Turn it back to me and then I'll introduce you. Good morning. For those of you who are not aware, my name is Annie Holmes. I'm the Executive Director of University Diversity and Inclusivity. Thank you all so much for taking the time this morning to come and to learn more about the Campus Climate Survey results. It has been a very interesting year or so that we've engaged in this work, and the time has finally come for us to find out what's working at Cal Poly and what are some of our challenges so that we can address them. I am pleased to present to you all President Jeff Armstrong, who just has a few words to share with us prior to getting to the data information. President Armstrong.
Thank you, Annie. First of all, be prepared for an emotional roller coaster. I experienced the report earlier today, my first time seeing the data, and it is, parts of it will make you Cal Poly proud, and parts of it will make you feel deeply sad for the way some people have been treated. I don't know any other way to put it. But I also want to say thank you to each and every one of you for participating, because we were off the charts in participation, and that's important. You can't measure it, you can't change it, you know how that goes. There are many, many things that we felt and heard from anecdotal evidence that you'll hear that came through the data. And you'll also hear Sue make a comment that this is not different than what's happening from a national perspective in many cases. But what I challenge each and every one of you, and I also challenge our leadership team, all of us together, let's be different on how we respond. Let's be different in making sure that some of these things just don't happen no more. So that's what I want to leave you with. It's the highs and the lows. I've heard it. I can't stay for the whole forum, but I can tell you our own leadership group, we're going to have our forum and participate. And I am excited about how Cal Poly is going to get better as a result of this fantastic climate survey. And I commend Rachel and Annie, and all the committee members, those that worked yesterday, and everything that's going on, and all the hard work in front of us. Because learn by doing is about getting better, and that's what this is about. And we've got the best person on the planet possible leading this study. So we've got the best, and we're going to do the best with our data of anybody else and make Cal Poly a better place for everyone, regardless of who they are. Thank you for coming, and thank you for participating in this survey.
Thank you, President Armstrong, for those words. And so now the time has come for us to learn about the survey results. I'd like to introduce my friend and colleague, Dr. Sue Rankin from Rankin Consulting. She has, as President Armstrong just stated, she has conducted these surveys and these studies at over 100 institutions, most recently doing the UC system. So she's well-versed in California and working with students, faculty, and staff in the state of California. And so we're excited to have the best of the best with us to assist us in building community and working toward enhancing and fostering our campus climate for all faculty, staff, and students. So Dr. Rankin, she's going to yell at me because she's going to say Sue.
Thank you very much. How about this? Good morning. Oh, you can do better than that. Good morning. Good morning. That's a little better. All right, so thank you very much for having me, and I just need to get my little clicker here so I know how to move slides forward. Thank you to President Armstrong for the introduction. I'm going to steal that best on the planet and put it on my website, so thanks. Not sure what's doing that. So thank you for coming today, for your participation in the project. For those that don't know me, I am Sue Rankin. I am excited to be here and offer the results of your study. As President Armstrong offered, you had one of the highest response rate I've had any survey I've done before, so congratulations for being involved in giving us the data we can actually do something with. For those that don't know who I am a low-income, first-generation kid from Brooklyn, New York, and I talk really fast. And the more passionate I get, the faster I talk. So if you want me to slow down, I go a little too quick, just raise your hand. I also want to offer that I don't want you to wait till the end to ask questions. If you have questions we go through this, interrupt me. Okay? There'll be time at the end also, but interrupt and ask questions we go through because I'll forget by the end. Because now I'm menopausal, so it's in and out, I forget. So I was raised in Brooklyn, went to college on a Title IX scholarship. The reason that I'm standing in front of you is Title IX, so I am appreciative of that. I could have put a ball in a hoop better than some of my friends could. And I say that because I went to college to play basketball. Students in the room? I didn't go to college to be a student. But I was pretty good at physiology and science, so I'll study that. And I actually really liked it. And so when I finished, you could paper this room with my rejection letters for teaching jobs in New Jersey. Because at that time was a recession, you had gas lines, odd and even numbers, people, or my gray hair like mine, are going like this, right? So during that time, there was no job. So I ended up teaching in Newark, New Jersey at Barringer High School and Berto Clemente High School for a year. And realized I don't want to be a high school teacher. But I did love coaching. I wanted to coach. And so my mentor in college said, well, why don't you go to grad school? And I'm like, what the heck is grad school? Well, you go there and learn more about physiology. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. So Penn State had the best physiology program. It also had a great softball team. They had an opening, and so they hired me as assistant coach. So again, I went to college to be a coach. And I found out that I really loved the coaching aspect. But back then, when you got hired to be a coach, you had to have a tenured job in a college in Division I. Not so much anymore, unfortunately. So I was tenured in the College of Science and worked in athletics. Head coach left. I'm 22 years old. They asked me when Joe Paterno was the athletic director at that point. Whole nother story. It was like meeting God in my family. I'm from a large Italian Irish Catholic family from Brooklyn. It was like meeting God. So he gave me the job, and so 22, I'm now head coaching softball. Again, have no idea what I'm doing. So did that for a while, left that, went to the administration, worked as an associate vice provost for a while, and then left the administration and went back to the faculty to finish my career. Now, I tell you this story to give you a framework or a context for the work that I do. And everything I've done, I've worked on equity. When I was coaching, it was AIW for women and NCAA for men when I first started. There was no NCAA for women, right? NCAA, I say, hostile takeover of the AIW because they now can make money on women's sports. And so we had that transition, and so gender equity was very important to me. Same salaries for coaching for women as for men. They gave different meal budgets to men than women. Do you ever see a softball team eat? Okay, they need money to eat. So we did that work. I went to the provost office and I worked on race and gender, international veterans, all kinds of difference on college campuses. And then ended up in my graduate program where I was teaching equity and social justice. So pretty much my career has been about equity and inclusion. And it's important to offer that because that's the framework from which I do the work. So I'm going to offer today not only your results, but also for students in the room and faculty, a little review of literature. So we start out with, we see in the work that we do climate as the living, learning, and working environment for faculty, staff, and students. We understand that alumni and boards of regents and everybody else has an input on that, but we want to just measure what's happening here now, okay, not 30 years ago. How many engineers in the room? Quite a few. Those 3 cog wheels don't work, I know, okay? But it's the only graphic that I could find that worked. So the reason that we exist in higher education is to have students learn, to create and distribute knowledge. As faculty, we create more knowledge through our research, we share it with our students, and we hope the students give it back to us and we challenge us and make us think more about how we can move forward. Staff, without you, we can't exist, right? If staff took a day off at the university, y'all took one day off the same day, we'd die. We wouldn't know where to get anything done, right? So you're very important to this process. And learning happens both outside the classroom and inside the classroom. So co-curricular is as important as curricular, okay? Campus climate is a construct, which means you can't ask one question and know what campus climate is, right? So in my previous life as a physiologist, I studied bone density, right? And I studied bone density for postmenopausal women. I'm now my own subject. So, and in my work, I did exercise or nutrition as an intervention, and I measured bone density again. Who's had a DEXA scan in the room? A bone density test. People who have gray hair like mine, women probably have, right? So you go in this little thing, and they tell you to the pretty very 0.000 confidence level of what your bone density is by using a DEXA scan. I do an intervention, I test it again, I know what bone density is. I can't do that with campus climate stuff. When I went from science to social and behavioral science, you can't ask one question and know what climate is. You have to ask lots of questions. We asked 93 here. So our definition is broad, purposely. We want to try and have a broad definition to look at all kinds of climate. We also look at 3 factors: how you experience that climate, how you perceive it to be for other people, and then what we're doing at Cal Poly to address it or not address it. You'll notice there on the bottom of these slides references. If you want any of those, it's to show you that I'm doing this work, but so are some of my colleagues who are finding the same things. For students, we find that campus climate influences student learning, period. And that different climates for different groups of students influence that learning in different ways. So if that's important and our reason for being is learning, then we should study climate, right? Pretty simple. For faculty and staff, there's a lot of information and literature for faculty that talk about faculty, women in STEM have a much more difficult time going through a P&T process than men in STEM. STEM being, I know, science, technology, engineering, whatever those 4 things are. Okay. Then also faculty of color have more difficult time moving through the P&T process than their white counterparts. There is nothing, not one article in all of the higher education literature on staff. Not one. I'm a pretty good researcher. There will be in a couple, when Annie finishes dissertation, because that's on staff, but we'll get there later. So I think part of the issue for me, was then where do I go to find information on staff? So I went to the business literature and found in the business literature that staff who experience workplace environments that are less than welcoming have physical, mental, and emotional well-being issues. Who's the first person a student sees when they come to campus? Staff. Admissions, financial aid, right? If those staff members are having those kinds of experiences, what's the interaction going to be like for that student? Not so good. So we study faculty, staff, and students because you all make up what the climate is here. We are not doing anything that you say you don't want to do. In your mission, in your vision, all of those documents point to the fact that you want to try and create environments where everybody can be as successful as they can, reach their academic potential, and reach their professional potential. I also got a mound of data. I've been in higher education a long time, 36 years at Penn State before I retired last year. When we collect data in higher education, where's the data go? On a shelf, okay? Or you collect the data, make a nice task force, they look at the data, create a plan. Where's the plan go? On the same shelf. Okay, I am very action-oriented. I'm a coach, right? So action-oriented. So we started thinking as a committee about the actions for this project before the survey went live. Where are the committee members? If you're a committee member, stand up if you're a committee member. Stand up, be recognized for the work that you've done, please. Thank you. Woo! So you know, this project has been a 1.5-year process. We met every 2 weeks for 1 hour. So they put a lot of work in. And we met yesterday from 9 until 3, so they've been very busy. Okay, so what was the process? We did the survey development. It took us about 12 survey drafts until they were all happy with the way the draft looked. I don't have a survey template. Okay, you created the questions as a committee based upon your work, and the committee was based on faculty, staff, and students from across the institution. Phase 2, data analysis, we did that over the summer, and now we're back reporting out the results. So, a couple of things about survey limitations. Survey research is a little tricky, right? Because we want to make it anonymous. We don't want you to feel like you have any way of being identified, which means if you don't want to take it, you don't have to, and I can't go badger you to take it, so I don't know who you are. So self-selection bias is an issue. Social desirability is an issue, right? Which means that do you answer questions the way that you think I want you to answer them, right? I will tell you in this case, that did not happen, okay? Response rates. We have to have, what's a good response rate? Who knows? Committee, be quiet because you know. 30%, that's correct. There is nothing in the literature you can find that says 30%, but Gallup and everybody else uses that as a means of generalizing, which means that if we had 30% response rate, it means if everybody filled it out, then that everybody had the same kind of responses. Okay, makes sense? You had amazing response rates. Talk about it in a minute. We also had a method limitation, which meant that in order to protect you, I wanted to make sure that you couldn't be identified, and so anything less than 5 in a cell, we moved to the next level. which means that if you were the only Asian American woman professor in English, and you checked all those demographic categories, I know who you were, right? So we didn't talk about, what did I say? Asian women English professors, whatever I said, right? We move it to a different level and say maybe all English professors, or maybe all women English professors, or maybe all women of color professors, whatever was the least common denominator. Make sense? Okay. We also de-identified all the comments. So if Zach wrote in and said, hi, I'm Zach, and I think this is about the president, okay, we left Zach's name out, but the president's stuff stayed in. And I will say, this is the first institution, the very first, I've done 127 now, these across the country, the first one where the president actually kept his promise and did not look at the report until this morning at 9 o'clock. He didn't see it till this morning when I got here and showed it to him. So that transparency is important. We wanted the community to see it together. So what were the response rates? Overall, amazing. Students, 25%. Graduate students, 31%. Faculty librarians, 42%. And let me say that we collapsed categories for faculty librarians, coaches, and counselors because individual categories of librarian, coach, or counselor are not large enough to do analysis with, right? So they kind of combine them together. And all those collapsing categories we did, the committee decided, not me. Staff, 84% of staff. That's unheard of. Yay, staff. The lowest response rate on an institution I had was 8%. Overall response rate, 8%. That's terrible. University of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I can say that because open record state. You can go to the website and find it. The highest I had was 86% overall response rate. Ursuline College, small Catholic college in Ohio. The president is Sister Diana. She said fill it out, they all filled it out. Okay, so we had 32 demographic questions. I'm not going to share all of them. This information, this PowerPoint presentation is 140 slides long. I'm not going to show you all 140 slides. Okay, we hit a lot of the slides that are more detailed, okay? But this whole presentation will be available on the Cal Poly website at 4 o'clock today. The full report will be available at the Cal Poly website at 4 o'clock today, okay? All information about the project is located at that site. So you can use it, you can go look at it. We'll have one hard copy of the report in the library if you want to look at it, if you want to go read it in the library. It's about this big. So bring something to drink and eat while you're doing that. Okay. So some of the for race, the committee decided that we wanted to have categories that were much broader than just the EEO categories you usually see in U.S. Census kind of data, right? Because we wanted to reflect the population that we felt was at Cal Poly. Now you'll notice that big bar at the top is white, no big surprise, right? But there's a lot of other categories that have larger numbers of people, and some with very few. And so again, to do analyses, we do some collapsing of categories. So now we've got 3 categories for race: white and people of color. I hate that term, because it means that everybody that's not white thinks the same. That's crazy, but that's how we use. Even though undergraduate students were not responding in the highest response rate, they had the highest N in the sample, right? The largest number of people in the sample were students. By gender, women fill out surveys more than guys. Have no idea why, we just do, okay? In this case, the faculty numbers actually reflect the faculty numbers, represent the faculty numbers that you have at Cal Poly. You have more men faculty than women faculty here. And that's represented in that response rate. Sexual identity. I offered a slide because I do a lot of work on LGBTQ populations. This is a very large number of people identifying in that spectrum of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and queer. I put it here because this is a very positive thing, that people here are comfortable in much larger numbers in places I find that are similar to yours across the country in who they are. Okay, so it's a relatively comfortable climate for them. Disability. We had a long list of things here to choose from. Number 1, mental health, psychological disability, or condition. That has gone like this over my last 10 years of work, okay? And the reason why, I think, is because now kids in high school are being diagnosed. And they get meds in high school to take care of that so they can be successful academically, which means now they're coming to college. 10 years ago, they wouldn't be in college. How many student affairs folks here? Anybody? Oh, terrific. My family's here. So, student affairs people. What happens is students come to college and go off their meds. And they're all going like this, right? And now you're dealing with kids who are, have bipolar or ADHD or whatever, and they aren't taking meds because mom and dad aren't there to make sure they take them, which causes havoc in the res halls. Okay, but it's also an issue for faculty because as old as I am, we didn't even know what ADHD was when I was still in college, learning how to be a teacher. Okay? I went to Montclair State Teachers College back then. So I think part of it is we don't give the tools to our faculty to actually help students and accommodate them if they have those disabilities. Okay. Spirituality. You have one of everything at Cal Poly. We had a very long list of things to choose from. You have atheist, agnostic, every Christian religion, Sunni, whatever you have here, okay? You have a lot of Jedis, by the way. Students, Jedis. So we collapsed those categories to look at faith-based affiliation, if you were spiritual, if you were in other affiliation or no affiliation or multiple affiliation. And what we found is that in the literature right now, there's a lot of literature about students who do not have an affiliation, a spiritual affiliation or religious affiliation. And the literature is pretty clear that that kind of a foundation is important for students to be grounded. So without that affiliation, they're more likely to be less successful. Trivia. Okay. Citizenship status. What I want to point out here on this slide is that you have 31 undocumented students who participated in this study. In my conversation this morning with the president and the president's council, our leadership group, was that there's probably more than that. Right? That's a population that's invisible. You don't know who they are unless they tell you. And they have the hardest time getting through institutions of higher education. And when they do finish, because now they're here and they're going to finish, how do they get a job? With no social security number. W-9, whatever those things are you have to fill out, right? They don't have that information. So a challenge for us in higher education. First-gen low income. We have 3 different kinds of variables. We have first-generation variables, we have SES variables, and then a first-generation low-income student variable. You can see here we have 372 students identifying as first-generation and low income. We know from the literature those students are the most apt to leave institutions. They don't stay retained. So I'm saying there are probably more students than that also in that category that didn't fill out our survey. Political views. This is up there because I want to show you that you've got pretty much one everything to about politics, but you really have lots who are falling liberal, conservative, middle of the road. So when you see the slides that talk about political views, understand that it's across that spectrum of political views we're talking about, not one way or the other. Okay? Students. Even though students didn't respond at really high response rates, they were pretty high, 25%, they're across all 4 years. Right? We didn't have everybody from first year, everybody from senior filling it out. We have a really good distribution. Student residence. We have a number of students living on campus and off campus. So again, a pretty representative sample of students living in different places. We also have fraternity and sorority house. We also have students who are homeless. And we didn't say homeless on the survey. We said, are you couch surfing? Right? Are you going from one friend's couch to another friend's couch? And they do that. I'm not homeless. I got a home. It's not mine, but I'm going. I got a roof over my head. Those students also are very apt to leave the institution, so retention for them is a little bit lower. All right, any questions on demographics? Got an idea who the sample is? There are many more in the slides that I've hidden, but you got an idea. So, what are the findings? Overall, you're pretty comfortable. Right? It says 80% overall campus climate, pretty comfortable. Department and work unit climate, not so much. And what I'm going to talk to you about here is, we didn't do any comparisons in the report. I can't compare you to anybody else. Why? That's where I ask the questions and you guys answer. Why can't I compare you? What's your sister institution for academic purposes to benchmark? Anybody know? Yell a school out. Cal Poly Pomona. Okay. If I compare, I'll look at a different example. So if I look at UC system, right? I just finished UC system. To compare Berkeley and Merced, crazy, right? Same thing around Cal Poly and Cal Poly, Pomona and SLO, right? Around these issues, you can't make those kind of, it's like apples and oranges, making comparisons. Where I will tell you is, based on my research, where you are an outlier one way or the other, where you're in a positive way or in a negative way, okay? Understand that that comparison is already skewed, because my data set's skewed. It's the only climate data set in the country. And it's the only people that came to me and asked me to do the work. So, grain of salt, but it'll give you an idea. So people around departmental climate is lower than what I usually find. Classroom climate for students, higher than I usually find. And faculty, a little bit lower, but pretty much on target. So we're done, right? Oh, no? Oh, okay. So what are the challenges? Yeah.
May I ask whether or not the work climate was student perception of an office visitor, or was it the employee perception of their office, or was it both?
The second. It's how employees, faculty and staff felt about their workplace climates in their departments. You're welcome. Okay, challenges and opportunities. We don't have problems in higher education. Now I'm being a researcher and an administrator, right? We have challenges and opportunities. So, first one is 22% of you said that you experienced some kind of conduct interfering with your ability to work or learn. That's harassment. I just didn't call it that because you define it any way you want. That's less than I find other places. It's usually 25 to 30%. You're like, oh, gay, that's great. No. That's still over 1,000 people who are experiencing them, and that's not so great. What did they experience? We had a whole long list of things for you to choose from here about how you experienced it, right? What strikes you about the top 3? How are they the same? Yeah. Say again? They don't foster inclusion. Great. We also had things like victim of a crime, physical assault, stalking. You didn't check those. How are these different? You're right, they're not inclusive. They're subtle. I'm not going around slapping you in the face, right? The literature on microaggressions, you know what literature, microaggression literature? You know what that is? If you don't, I'm going to tell you. It's Dr. Sue, not me, another Dr. Sue. And the work that's done there says that these kinds of subtle things are as impactful as getting slapped across the face. And they build. So, for example, if I am an African-American, 6'5" young man, and I walk into my first engineering class, what's the first thing the professor asks me? Do you play basketball? Nope, I'm not an athlete, just here to be an engineer. That's a microaggression. Now, the faculty member wasn't trying to be dismissive of the student, he was just trying to have a conversation, right? Get to know them a little bit better. Unfortunately, some of the times the follow-up question to that is, when the student says, I'm just an engineer, well, how'd you get in? Another microaggression. Student does nothing. But those microaggressions build and build and build and build until one day they're sitting in your office in student affairs and they blow up. I'm like, why are you so upset? What did I say? It's all those years of those things building, right? So it's important to look at that information. Yeah. That's across groups right now, but I do disaggregate in a second, so great segue, thank you. The question was, is that across the groups, or is that something that's individual to students? This is across all groups right now, but I do disaggregate in a second. So, and the report does this in much more detail. The reason you experienced it, the basis of that experience, major field of study was number 1. That is never number 1 in any of my studies. Now, having conversations about this and having been in STEM fields myself as the only woman in my lab for 10 years, it's about STEM versus non-STEM, I think. Don't know that for sure, but it might be. The others are gender, ethnicity, physical characteristics, etc. So these are the reasons why you said that you were harassed. A little more detail to give you more information. We do these by all the different breakouts of demographics. For men who experienced harassment, they said they experienced about 18% of the time, and of those 18% that was based on my gender. So some men are experiencing harassment based on gender. For women, a quarter said they experienced harassment, and they experience it 44% of the time because they're women. Okay? When we look at position, to go back to the person's question here, right? Undergraduate students, they experience about 19% of the time, but not very much because they're undergrads. Grads, most of the time because they're graduate students. And staff, half the time, or more than half, because they're staff members. Now, climate's not one slide, right? Remember that? That's what I'm beginning? It's not one slide. It's all these slides put together. So what themes start arising for you as we go through the slides? Okay? Around race, people of color experience it much more based upon their race than do white. Huge numbers here. Not unique, by the way, to Cal Poly. Where did it happen? Public space, these are usually what I find other places of my long list of 30 choices. The one that came up that doesn't come up most often is in a class setting, in a class, clinical, or lab setting. It's never that high in my list, never makes top 5. Now remember, a little confusing, right? Because before, students said they're pretty comfortable with the classroom climate, but something's happening in the classroom. Who is the perpetrator? It's a little busy slide. Who did it to you, right? For staff, supervisors, number 1. Not surprising. And staff, number 2. For faculty, other faculty. Oh, not the administration, faculty. For students, look at these numbers. For students, you are doing it to each other. So when you come to me, student, and say, fix this, I'm going to go back to you and say, you need to help because you're doing it to each other. What did you do in response? Again, we had a long list of choices for you to pick from. These were the top groups that I put into 2 categories, personal responses and reporting responses. What strikes you about the top group compared to the bottom group? Look, I'm teaching the class. Oh, look at this. I'm not going to answer the question. Yeah? They're more emotionally charged. Okay, it's more about my feelings. Good. What else? Yeah? Yeah. The top numbers are much larger percentage-wise than the bottom ones, right? This is what I call the Starbucks phenomenon. Come here, Zach. So Zach and I are at Starbucks, right? And we're having a cup of coffee, and I'm like, did you see what happened to him yesterday?
I totally did.
God, was that awful?
It was crazy.
It was terrible. Oh, my
know
God,
what to do.
right? That's what happens. You're good. Yeah, I know, right? So the response, though, is that we never go and say anything that anyone can do anything about it. And we don't, according to staff, qualitative comments because I'm afraid I'll be fired. There will be consequences if I report it. So I don't. The one that's also hard to look at is that I didn't know who to go to. You have reporting mechanisms, but no one's using them, or I don't know where to go. Exactly. I'm afraid to go. The comment was the reporting mechanisms have the same dynamic. You're not going to go to somebody who's supposed to be helping you because you don't trust them. Oh, I'm getting all this now. It's like those little dogs in the back of the car or something like that. Okay, so here's a part of the presentation that President Armstrong said may be difficult for you to see. So I'm going to offer that ahead of time. This may trigger some things for you that are not pleasant. Sexual assault on college campuses is a national epidemic, and we aren't talking about it. But more now than before, given the president in the White House talking about the Not Alone document and so forth, right? So we are talking about it a little bit more. At Cal Poly, 5%, over 300 respondents said they had been sexually assaulted while at Cal Poly. How many know someone's been sexually assaulted? Raise your hand. Look around the room at how many hands are up. Oh, it breaks my heart. This is my research area, so this is also hard for me to look at. So of these people who are they? Most often, women undergraduates. Disability, LGBT, I put some other ones up there for you to see, race breakdowns. They're all broken down in the report. The national literature is very clear that sexual assault occurs first year, first semester, first 6 weeks. And we know that. And Cal Poly is no different. People that experienced this assault said it happened most often in the first or second quarter. Bless you. Where did it happen? Mostly off campus, 80%. Some on campus. And we asked where. So in the report, you'll see locations that are actually offered as places these things have occurred. Most often occurring at a party, and alcohol is almost always involved. Who did it? Now, stranger's a weird one here, because in the qualitative comments, it wasn't really a stranger. I was just too drunk to know who it was. And that's the comments that came out. You'll see them in a second. There were other choices here. There were zeros. There were no staff. Okay, there were no family members. These are the ones that came up with having numbers in them. The 3 faculty are a little concerning to me. What'd you do? In this list, all the way from the top of the list down to this one down here, they didn't do anything. They told no one. That's a concern. And now we have mandatory reporting, right? Which means that if I'm a res hall coordinator and a student comes to me and says, I've been sexually assaulted, I gotta go, wait, stop there, because if you tell me anymore, I've got to report this. Right? Mandatory reporting. Less people are gonna report. And I'm not talking about reporting like going to the police or the hospital or those kind of things. That's not what I'm talking about. I want you to get assistance, counseling, help. It's a awful thing to have happen to you. The qualitative comments, there were some themes that came out in the qualitative comments. One being, I didn't want to report it because I was afraid I'd be re-victimized in some way. Obvious, if you read the papers, you know what happened at Florida State. In my opinion, that quarterback should be on the bench, but that's my opinion. Felt responsible. Felt embarrassed. I didn't think it was sexual assault. I'll be a little graphic here. One of the comments said, he didn't penetrate me, so it wasn't sexual assault. So we defined this in the survey right next to the question, so they knew exactly what we meant when we said sexual assault. So I'm going to ask you to help me out here and read some of these. These are the comments that came out of the survey from some of the people who said, in our section after, we said a question that said, if you haven't reported it, why haven't you? If you did report it, was it handled appropriately? Who wants to read the first one? I'm going to call on you if you don't read it, so I'll pick you. Thank you.
I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, get him in trouble, and have unnecessary and unwanted attention on me.
How about the next one? Thank you.
I knew I was violated and didn't get consent, but at the time didn't want to make a big deal of it. I regret that decision now.
Next one. Thank you.
It was my first week in college. I wanted to forget about it and not let it define my freshman year.
Oh. Next one. Thank you.
I didn't think anyone cared enough. As much as it bothered me and still bothers me, I don't think I am supposed to be bothered by it.
Volunteer.
It was just a sexual assault, and I don't think it was necessary to report.
I didn't feel it was bad enough to report. I was too drunk to get him off of me.
It was only consensual because we weren't entirely sober. I felt pressured way too much to report it to the police when at the time all I needed was emotional help and therapy. These are just samplings of comments just like these that came in large numbers in the report. I'll reiterate, this is not a Cal Poly issue. It's a national issue. As the President mentioned before, this is the hardest part for them to hear this morning too. And what Cal Poly can do is something about it. Okay? The next part of the survey, kind of going off a bit, talks about if you'd seriously considered leaving the institution. Yeah, sure.
So about this last section, two things about the language in the executive summary. I'm wondering why sexual assault was not used as the language
Oh.
instead of unwanted, or you used unwanted sexual contact.
It's unwanted physical sexual contact. That actually what I used in the survey also. I just made it different in the slides. But that's the language that was in the survey because that's the language used by the federal government in defending what sexual assault is.
Okay, and the other thing about language in the executive summary, I'm wondering is with the 5%, in the summary it says 5% do believe they experienced it, which
Yeah.
seems to downplay the, legitimacy of those claims, and so I'm curious if you can respond.
Thanks for reading it. It's on the shelf. That's good. Yeah, so I think the reason that I use that is because I was challenged by legal counsel at another institution that when you say that you have been sexually assaulted, that we're required to follow up, right? If I say believed, I can put it in the report. So I want to make sure it's in there, so I use the word believed.
But that's not the case for like hostile conduct?
No,
Hostile conduct.
just sexual assault. At least, I'm not a legal counsel, but that's how I was advised. Great catches. Wow. Yes.
On that 5%, I know you said it's epidemic, but how in the
Oh.
studies you've done, the 5% in comparison to other campuses, the percentage?
The question is, how does the 5% compare to other campuses? You're on the high end. It's usually 2 to 4%. You're above. Yes? Mhm. Could you all hear the comment? So the comment was that it's really, this is the issue, is that the legal system is what's kind of driving our work as opposed to, am I paraphrasing good enough?
Right, the priority is on the legal liability of the institution rather than
Yeah.
the individual.
Which is why I try as best as I can to put information into these reports despite the legal limitations. So now you know whether or not it's there. I mean, we have to do something about it. Yeah.
On the report, it says women respondents 8%.
Sorry?
Women respondents were 8% to have experienced unwanted sexual contact. Is that inclusive of staff, faculty, and students, or is there?
Good question. There are 2 sections in the survey on sexual assault. One is overall, and then one only on students. So you'll see 2 sections in the report that talk about overall instances of sexual assault and then students. The overwhelming majority of the victims, survivors, if you will, of sexual assault, are undergraduate women. Answer your question?
I wanted to know whether it was high within the student population.
Oh, it's yes. You have higher sexual assaults at Cal Poly than other places I've been. Okay? Other questions? Great questions. And thank you for reading the executive summary. So, okay, who thought about leaving the institution? Over half of faculty and staff thought about leaving the institution. Now, take it with a grain of salt because every day at Penn State I thought about leaving until you asked me, right? If I asked me on a Monday, I said yes, right? Tuesday, no. So, and also, there's been a lot of salary issues here, right? So I'm sure every day thought about leaving because you're not getting paid enough. That said, these are higher than I find in other places. Okay? So we broke it down by different demographics to see if there are differences by different groups. And throughout the report, you're going to see tables like this, where there are some that are broken out by gender and disability. The next one might be international and veterans. The reason that gender's not in all of them is because it wasn't significant. The only thing in the report, in those tables, are the insignificant results. Okay? So don't come back to me and say, where's gender? Well, it wasn't significant. So here we've got citizenship status, sexual identity, disability status, and by position, tenured faculty more than non-tenured faculty. By the way, staff, between hourly staff and non-exempt and exempt staff, there was no difference. That's why you're not there, right? For reasons why, salary, number 1 answer. It's like on Family Feud, right? Number 1 answer? Okay, so that's what I find everywhere. We don't get paid enough in higher education. Find a new position, new profession, because we don't get paid in higher education. Number 2, though, limited advancement opportunities. That is mostly staff. Staff are saying in their qualitative comments, I can be an administrative assistant and get a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, and I will always be an administrative assistant. There's no place for me to go, right? More importantly, you're telling me that I am really good at what I do. People know I'm good, so I keep getting things added on to my job description, but I'm never reclassified and I don't get any salary increase. You're all going like this again. That's an issue, and it affects staff morale. The other ones are the ones I usually find, right? Tension with supervisors, et cetera. Increased workload, not one I find very often. So again, that kind of goes back to what I just talked about, that increased workload with not any commensurate salary increase. For students come to Cal Poly. Oh, sorry, question. We did, it wasn't significant. Again, if those things, if they're not presented within the questions, then they weren't significant findings. Okay? For students, you come to Poly, we think, with the idea of staying here until you finish, right? 25% of students said they thought about leaving the institution. That is way off scale and off the charts from my other work. It's usually less than 10%. Now, the question there becomes, why? Right? So there's some differences by different groups. Now, again, start seeing which things are different and which things are the same going across different questions. So here we've got race, sexual identity, disability status, where there's differences. Oops. I'm sorry, I couldn't see. I got lights in my eyes here. They are in the report, just not in the executive summary. I couldn't put everything in the executive summary. It's impossible. That's why I'm doing this. I'm totally agreeing. I just couldn't put everything in the executive summary.
We're asking why it wasn't more important than other things you put in.
It is important. That's why I'm talking about it now. So the executive summary is only one part of this project. The most important part of the project is this, because now I'm summarizing everything. Okay? You'll see that sexual assault only had one line, even though I spent like 4 slides on it here. Okay? More importantly is what things are happening around different student groups that are causing this to happen. This is why I put in the information about race and gender and sexual identity being issues in all those different categories that may influence a student's decision to leave. Okay? Great question. Smart students, by the way. Okay. Why they thought citizenship status and generational status. Now we've got first-generation students thinking about leaving more than not first-generation students. Again, like the literature says. Almost all in their first year. Over 3/4 of students in their first year. 45% in their second year. 17% in their third year. By third year, you should be pretty set. That's concerning to me, if you couldn't tell. What? Yeah. The question was, do you think it has to do with students have to declare their major when they first come here and they can't change it once it gets hard to change your major when you get here? Yes, because my clicker doesn't want to work. These are the reasons why students thought about leaving. Number one reason, lack of belonging. I don't fit. That's never my number one answer, ever. In all of my work, that's never been number one. The literature, there's a lot of sense of belonging in the literature, in student affairs literature, about sense of belonging and leaving. There are scales created to look at sense of belonging that are embedded in our surveys. Students don't feel as if they belong. Yes?
I find it interesting that, and I don't know if you see this as well, you said that there's a lack of declared faith, and then this is your number one.
There are connections between all of these things, but I can't make assumptions. I can only prevent the results. It's up to you to interpret these and then move forward as a community about how to respond to them.
Undergrad a long time ago here, they had RAs that held, faith-based things, and I don't know if they still exist anymore.
Faith-based is an important part of the student experience, right? But students say they have no affiliation. I'm not going to encourage students to have a spirituality, but I will provide them with maybe opportunities to look at things beyond what they grew up with, right? Yeah. It's overall, all three. Yes, you can. I didn't. But you own the data set. Rachel, if you're here, Rachel's in the front. Stand up, Rachel. Okay, Rachel is the keeper of the data. And so I barely scratched the surface in doing the results. There is a lot of more information that can be had, right? So we'll do more information. Those kind of questions you want to bring to Rachel's attention, okay? I'll tell you how in a second. Didn't like the major, as you pointed out, was number one, or I couldn't change my major, so that was one of the reasons why. That may be more apt in the third year than maybe in the first year. Students need to feel as if they belong. We sell students of color a bill of goods. We bring them to orientation weekend, they're like, wow, look at all the students of color, this is fabulous. Go to the first class, like, where'd everybody go? Right, we need to make sure we support them. Yes?
How are you differentiating point 1 and point 3? They're clearly somewhat different, point 1 and point 3, but how are you differentiating a lack of sense of belonging and then...
It was how they expressed it themselves to me, so we categorized these based on their comments. Some would say that I find the climate's not very warm and welcoming for me. Others would say I don't feel like I fit or I don't belong. So we tried to differentiate. They can check more than one as well.
Okay, yeah, so this wasn't their qualitative statement, it was the options that they had.
Correct. But you also had options like this, right? These are top 5. Yeah.
For personal reasons, are you going to get downtrodden, or can I ask a question about it?
Go ahead.
For personal reasons, what do you find as personal reasons as
Financial, homesick, just financial, usually financial and homesick. Those are the two top ones about going home. That's why exit interviews don't work, by the way. Don't waste your money on exit interviews, they don't work. Because students are going to tell you the reasons they leave are the ones you want to hear, right? Financial, personal, homesick, family, whatever. So, perceptions. How did you see it for other people? 32% said that I see something happening on campus that's negative for other people. Usually between 35 and 40%, usually I find that in my studies, you're a little bit below that. This actually is a very positive finding. Why? I can't see a thing. Sorry? Because they see it actually happening. You're a primarily white institution. If we have racial profiling happening, white people are seeing it and know what it is. That's positive. The negative thing is it's still happening, right? Number 1, derogatory comments. When you look down the list, though, you see that the top 3 we found in experiences also shows up here. People are seeing folks being intimidated and bullied and ignored and excluded, not being included, going back to sense of belonging, right? Now we're starting to see some patterns. Racial profiling pops up. Driving while black. Being downtown, walking in a store with your white friend and you're black and you're the one that's followed around the store. Happens all the time. The reason you saw it happening was ethnicity, gender, sexual identity, racial identity. These are the things I usually find in other institutions. Hiring, firing, and promotion. We find is that this is what we find other places. About 20% usually say that they've experienced some kind of untoward hiring practice. When you break it down, this is only employees, by the way. This is not students. Even though students may work on campus, we didn't ask students these questions. Okay? Race, sexual identity, disability status, there's differences. We look at it by firing. This is disciplinary actions, which means up to and including firing. Again, 14% of faculty and librarians, 14% of staff. Not unique to Cal Poly, but I find in other places. And here are differences by race and disability status. Around promotion, again, about what I find. These are not great numbers, by the way. It's almost a third of people are saying they're seeing this across the country, not just at Cal Poly. Gender, race, disability, also the things that were significant. Now, we crossed everything, all demographic categories on all of these questions. The ones I'm providing for you are the ones that were significantly different. Okay? Work-life issues. Remember in the study we had like 3 sets of questions on work-life balance issues about child care, elder care, P&T processes, all of that. Most of you said those work-life issues were okay. There were some that were very different, and those different ones are in the report. I'm not going to present them here, I haven't got time. But you'll see those breakdowns in the report by the differences, by the different demographics. I encourage you to look at that section if you're interested in those work-life balance issues. Childcare. This is a question that I've never asked before in either study. It's an issue in higher education, but no one ever asked me to put on the survey before. These are new questions for me, so I can't give any benchmarking data. But childcare at Cal Poly, most of you are aware it's available. Some have considered using it. Hardly any use it. That's what that slide says. Kind of goes from top to bottom, right? When you look at the reasons I don't, well, I haven't got kids, so I don't need it. That's number one. But when we look at the ones that do have kids, it's too costly or there's no openings. You know, I'm going like this again. If we did have childcare, which are the groups we need it most for? Newborns, 1 and 2 year olds, et cetera. Do we need after-school activities, that kind of thing? This slide kind of points that out. And I divided up by faculty and staff so you can see the respondents by faculty and staff respondents. Childcare is an issue. How do students have childcare? They couldn't afford it. If you have a student who is a parent, single parent, going to school, working, what goes? If I can't afford childcare or the groceries. So they give up childcare, which means they can't go to school, which means they can't get a degree. It's a cycle. Okay, here's the positive piece of this report. Most positive. Students, no matter what you're experiencing based upon who you are, if you're Black, Asian, Native American, straight, gay, doesn't matter, you're getting a great experience academically, you tell us. We're here for student learning. Students are learning. That's a good thing. The majority feel valued by their students in the classroom. They feel valued by faculty and staff, so they have their back. They feel that they have faculty and staff they consider as role models. We kill our faculty of color. So if myself and Annie, where are you, Annie? Annie were hired the same day as assistant professors in English, okay? The second day on the job, Annie gets a call from the president that says, we have a university-wide diversity committee. Will you please serve on that committee for us? She's not going to say no. She's a brand new faculty member. Dean calls her 2 weeks later and says, we have 3 search committees going on. We'd like you to sit in those search committees so that you can actually help us diversify that committee. Would you serve in the committee? She's like, I don't say no to the dean. More importantly, every single African-American student in the institution, regardless of major, will find Annie to be a mentor because there are so few. When it comes time to third-year review, I have many more articles than Annie has, and they're saying, well, you're not producing enough. Not working hard enough. If you're working harder than I'm working, I don't have those demands on me. We need to be more cognizant of how we take care of our faculty of color, or they're going to leave. Revolving door in higher education, faculty of color. They also have staff as role models because there aren't enough faculty who look like them to have a role model in faculty. You have a great new mentor program. It's a fabulous program. It's best in the country. It's the first one I've ever seen is that good. Hopefully that'll be a positive thing in making this a little bit better. So students also said they had 90% of students said, I feel like I have an opportunity to be successful as my other students have. I can be successful academically. 40% said they feel prejudged by their faculty members because of their identity or background. Going back to my African-American young man, 6'5" example, right? 36% said, I don't see faculty who I can have as a role model. There's nobody who looks like me.
What community are you referring to when you have, like, in the previous slides, a majority of students, and this, like, 90%? Like, what's the breakdown of those?
It's all students who responded to the survey. So it goes back to the sample I showed you earlier on in the slides.
Was everyone combined?
Correct.
And is there differences between different, like, status?
Those are also in the report. %90 said they had experiences similar to their classmates. I'm not trying to not answer your questions. We just didn't have time to put everything in the slides. So I tried to put some of the things here that you might consider doing more research on that may be helpful in retaining students of color, for example. 40%, I did that right. Institutional actions. So I asked you what we should do to make it better. Faculty and librarians said provide more flexibility around P&T process, right? The stopping the clock thing. Provide more recognition. If I'm doing this work in my classrooms, be recognized for doing that work. Providing more mentorship for new faculty and more career span development opportunities. That means that faculty who are in associate rank are stuck. How do I go from associate to full? They also say we want to have counseling for folks who experience harassment. Please give us that ability to do that. A clear and fair way to resolve conflict. Providing training for P&T committees and also for search committees about how to be a better search committee and be more inclusive. If you want to attract a faculty of color, you don't put it in the Chronicle. That's not the best way to do a search committee process. I'm a good recruiter. I coached for 17 years. I'm a good recruiter. I know how to recruit people. It's personal touch. Staff said more diversity training for faculty, staff, and students. Notice faculty didn't say that. Right? Faculty think I got it. I don't need any more training. I'm good. Mentioned for new staff and more career span development opportunities. So if you're my staff member, if Julie is my staff member, and she says, I want to get another degree, a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, I'm going to say, that's great. I'm going to support you in doing that. But you need to know that when you get those degrees, there is no place for you to go in our unit. But I will help you know where you might be able to find another position. That's different than having to go through all that work and then say at the end, well, what's my reward? Right? They also said having counseling for experiencing harassment, a clear way to resolve conflicts, and increase the diversity of staff, faculty, and administration. Okay, overall summary. At Cal Poly, you don't live in a bubble. Things that happen out there happen here. If it's sexist out there, it's sexist. If it's racist out there, it's racist here. If it's ageist out there, it's ageist here. But in higher education, we don't call it those things because we're afraid it's going to hurt alumni giving or development, right? If we don't start calling it in higher education what it is, if you don't call it that at Cal Poly, you devalue everyone's experiences of that racism, sexism, heterosexism, and ageism. Whatever ism there is. You can call it what it is. Sorry, I'm preaching. Overall strengths are my ideas of strengths. Number one is that people are pretty comfortable with the overall climate. Students are pretty positive with their academic experience, that most graduate students, undergrad students are happy with the classroom climate, and that employees have pretty positive work-life issues. Okay, overall kind of positive things. Negative things, you're still, yes?
I had a question, just along the same vein of calling it what it is.
Yes.
When I was reading the executive summary, I was interested in the fact that in a lot of the places where you were breaking down, comfort and discomfort, you guys use the term less comfortable in place of discomfort or harassment, etc. And I read through other summaries that you guys did even, and I didn't see that language used, but it was used specifically here. And I was wondering, because less comfortable implies like still comfortable, but less comfortable. You know what I mean? So if you're talking about calling it how it is, I was wondering what the idea was for using less comfortable in place of harassment or discomfort.
It's the way the question was worded in the survey. The first three questions in the survey were overall comfort with the campus, overall comfort with the classroom, the Department of Work unit, and the third one was classroom. And then the other questions we asked were about harassment or conduct unbecoming, right? So we tried to marry the questions to the way that they were actually asked in the survey. Yes?
Why didn't you just call it discomfort initially?
Because that's how I word my questions. I'm also a very half-glass full kind of person, and so I'd like to see the things that are positive as well as negative. So we try and do both, and we try very hard in our work to try and offer those things you're doing well and those things that you need to work on. Great questions. Okay, I need to know this. This is great students over here. We have a lunch after? Go ahead.
Based on the overall strengths and successes, how does that reflect our previous slide when we were talking about students feeling exclusionary conduct?
That's one of the challenges. Let me get there, right? The challenges are 4 as well. You're still seeing it happen. You're still observing it happen. There's sexual assault happening. And students are still thinking about leaving Cal Poly. Okay? Those are the 4 challenges that I see. They may have different ones that you have. Yeah?
And since the overall opportunities for improvement are less than the strengths and opportunities that you were mentioning previously, does that affect the speed of the action initiatives that you have?
Great question. Give me 1 second. We're going to segue into that about the actions, okay? Thank you. All right. Next steps. Thank you very much. Good segue. So next steps are, number 1 is a proposal process. You have the data, which means you can use the data to do additional analyses. There's a process to use the data because we want to protect the confidentiality of the respondents, right? So if you want to do a study, say this group over here, I'm not sure who you are, but I know you want the data. So if these students want to look at, say, I don't know, just Latino population, how they're experiencing the campus climate, they can then put a proposal in to do that. Proposal goes to Rachel, who's the keeper of the data, and a committee of folks to look at this who know the data to see if when we answer the question that we aren't going to identify anyone. Right? So this is kind of a little research proposal, if you will, about how to use this. If it passes, and when you do the data analysis, you'll either go back to the IRB, Institutional Research Board, and actually get permission to use the data. You would not get all of the data, just that to answer your question, and it would be aggregated so that no one would be identified. Okay? Is that pretty clear? If a dean wants the data for his or her particular college, they have to go through the same process. Okay? Did I get that right, Rachel? Okay. The information, like I said before, will be available tomorrow. The whole report on the at 4 o'clock today at the Cal Poly website. That's up there for you. The hard copy in the library, that's also available for you. So we're trying to be transparent. Everything I found, I gave you. I wasn't bought off by the administration to print the good stuff. Okay? The president didn't see it till this morning. He's still trying to go through it. Yes? Yes. We have to know that you're going to be able to protect the respondents as much as we did, so you'll follow the same IRB protocol that we did, which is less than 5 minutes to help, segregated comments, so forth.
Even though the data is being aggregated to keep out the...
It's not being, right now, Rachel has the raw data. Okay? She has the raw data because she's the PI, and federal law, I have to give her the raw data.
So we're talking a couple months for proposal to activate the data.
Moratorium until January is kind of our process, our thought process. Yeah. The full report's available right now. Yeah, the data's not available, but the report's available, yes. Yes? The, I disagree. I'm going to disagree with you because the voices of those folks are there.
Right, but is there somewhere that's linked to saying that in the report so that people can acknowledge it? We got our video, which is like 80% love it, and that's really good. But it's...
But 20% don't. And so that 20% is what we're trying to talk about in the report. Who are they? Right? And that those themes for different parts of the report are different. But one that travels across all, I would say, is race.
No, I agree with what you're saying, but I think when we got the video and like the whole email saying 6 months, I just think it wasn't fun in that way. It was very like, oh, it was fun in that way, and then I get here and I'm seeing the curriculum and I'm just like, do you know anything, or is that more like Cal Poly with...
I didn't do the video, so I'm just giving you the results. Okay. Oh, did I answer the question? One more, yeah.
Yeah, I had one more question in that regard. Just going off that, yeah, you seem very concerned about 20%, and you addressed that issue with a lot of people who are uncomfortable. But in the executive summary, you mentioned here in the conclusion, it is important to note that the culture of our government institution and unique aspects of each campus's environment must be taken into consideration when considering action items based on these findings. And I was wondering what that meant in this regard, because with all the context included, that this kind of seemed to imply to me that like we probably shouldn't do anything too serious right now.
Can you hold on to the actions till I talk about the actions? Thank you. All right, so, and I'm not going to talk about the actions because you need to do this process. It needs to be owned by the community. So if you want to have actions happen at Cal Poly, you have to contribute to the forums that are going to help us develop what those actions are. So you need to be the change you want to see. Thank you, Gandhi. Okay, you need to be there at those forums to provide this feedback. I am totally cool with you guys being critical. That's how I get better. But you also can't just be critical and not do anything to make a change. Okay? So I'm going to offer, again, that this information is available. Read the whole report. The executive summary is just the executive summary. And I wrote it in a way that would be easy to read for everybody at Cal Poly, faculty, staff, and students. It's not written in academese. It's written in a way that makes sense, I hope. Right? Clear. The report gets much more detailed. More information about things that you may want to know more about. When you do that secondary review, now bring those things that you think we should do to act on those things to those forums. And now I'll stop and turn it over to Annie and Rachel to continue this. Thank you for your time. Oh, question. One more question, I have to go to the actions. Go ahead.
So I was wondering, we were interested in the process of how they chose Rankin and Associates to do the data.
Okay.
And we noticed that Ms. Holt was previously associated with Rankin and Associates. Could you comment on if there was a conflict of interest here and if that affected the results or the activity summary or anything else?
So the question was how I was picked because Rankin and Associates, Annie Holmes, who is now a employee at Cal Poly, was associated with Rankin and Associates. If I took everybody out of my pool of people that I work with institutions of higher education, I wouldn't be able to have a job. So I've been in 127 institutions, and all institutions, I was a PhD graduate faculty member for almost 20 years. All those people are now at their institutions of higher education doing work. And so no, there's no conflict of interest because Annie had nothing to do with data analysis. Okay? Data analysis came to my server. I did the work. The questions developed for the survey developed by the committee, not developed by Annie. So I think those are important concepts for you to hear, although I appreciate your concern. Yeah?
Because Annie Holmes is the executive director of inclusivity and diversity, and she would be commenting on these reports, kind of her thing, being the executive director, is that really not a conflict of interest?
It is not because the community needs to make these actions, not Annie Holmes' office. Her job is to implement those once you decide what they are. Okay? Yeah?
As a member of the committee, Annie did not play any sort of controlling role. It was like with any faculty staff committee, there was about, 20 people, about 40 voices. So, I can understand where the question is coming from, but I would say, from my perspective, there was no problem. Other people on the committee can comment on it.
Yeah, I would love to. As a member of the committee too, Annie was on maternity leave.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Entire year, so she never really attended any of the committee meetings. She was kind of busy.
And also we had student representation. It wasn't just faculty and staff. We had students who also were providing their comments. Yeah?
Was there a bidding process when Cal Poly was choosing you guys?
Yes.
There was open.
RFP. And you can question my credibility, it's okay. I've done 127 days across the country. I strongly encourage you to look at the other reports I've done to get an idea of what we've done. The UC system is your open record state. You can go to the UC system website and see all of our reports. Okay? Yes? At 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, yeah, and the PowerPoint is also. And there are, I think about 50 slides
You have to come to the light.
that Sue didn't get to that are hidden in the PowerPoint. So you just click unhide in PowerPoint and you can see them all. And I just wanted to speak to the committee makeup and the objectivity. I co-chaired it with Annie, and I basically chaired it while she was on maternity leave, and I've never worked with Sue Rankin before. And I can go through the process of how we wound it up, peopling the committee after if you want. So did you want to talk about the open forums?
I did. So thank you all once again for coming. I know some people are leaving. So this is the end of the road for Sue. This is the beginning of the road for the campus community. And so to answer some of the questions that just came up toward the end, my office is providing leadership and guiding this ship, but I am not making the decisions. I am not setting the priorities. I am not sitting behind closed doors with the president deciding what we're going to do next. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is where I am going to call upon all of our faculty, staff, and students to come together and share what are your thoughts, what are your responses to the complete survey. And so I encourage you to take a look at the report. The full report will be available as well as the PowerPoint with all of the other slides that you did not see here today. Today at 4 o'clock, there will be a campus-wide communication going out where you can click on that link, but it's also on the campusclimate.calpoly.edu homepage. It will be available there. I encourage you to take a look at the full report. The survey is at the end of the full report, I believe, correct, Sue? The actual survey instrument, so you can actually look at the questions that were asked. That will help when you are interested in looking at submitting a proposal. So that can gear your research question toward what we actually asked of the campus community. I also wanted to share that we will be having focus groups, community forums, and workshops. The email today will include the dates and times available for those. That is your opportunity after you have had a few weeks or 2 weeks to sit and reflect upon the results, to come together and share with the facilitators what it was, how you're feeling, what triggered you, what are your thoughts, what would you like to see happen. That is the time to share those thoughts with us so that we can continue to do this work. And again, my office is guiding the ship, but it will never just be Annie sitting at her computer or at her desk with someone making the decision. We are also including the Inclusive Excellence Council that will continue to provide the assessment of where we are going as a campus. So we are building in long-term processes and procedures to ensure that this is not something that is just going to get left on President Armstrong's desk. He did receive his bound copy of the report today, which is literally about this thick. He has that in his office. That is not the only copy. There is another copy made available in Kennedy Library, in the reserves, in circulation. So if you wanted to sit and take some time and actually page through an already printed and bound copy, please go to Kennedy Library and take the time to do that as well. This is a transparent process. And so we recognize that there were going to be some questions about how Sue and I met, our work together at Penn State University, as well as with Rankin and Associates. And so if you have any questions in regards to that, please feel free to come and ask me, and we can share with you the process. We can share with you the transparency. This is, again, why we ask that leadership be informed the day of, because we didn't want anyone in the campus community to feel as though President Armstrong or anyone in leadership asked Sue to present certain data and not others. These are the key findings that she found. This is what she shared with us. And now we have an opportunity to delve deeper into the data, to really look at and explore what's happening on our campus, and to make Cal Poly a better community for everyone. And we have to do that together. So I wanted to say thank you to all of you for coming. We do have some resources here in the room. For those who are in SAFER, for those who are in the cross-cultural centers, and for anyone who's involved with counseling and guidance. If you are here, can you please stand? SAFER, thank you. If at any point today you were triggered, you're having some difficulty dealing with some of the results, and you just need to debrief, you need to check in, these are staff who have come today so that they can be of assistance to you. Please utilize the staff that we have here. Please utilize the other resources that we do have on campus as well. We want to make sure that this is a healing process for all of us that are involved. Am I missing anything else? Sure.
Add something about the process. So in our focus groups, you'll get those dates today in an email and some workshops. There are several public focus groups, and then we're also trying to have focus groups with specific groups, many of whom you saw on the screen today. If you think of others, just send us an email and we'll set them up. What we're doing with the information we get from the focus group participants and the workshop participants as facilitators, and the facilitators all come from the Campus Climate Working Group, what we're doing is getting together at the end of November and in December and really sitting down with all of that input to see what's rising to the top in terms of significant actions that the university could take. And along with Sue's recommendation, we're going to take 2 or 3 significant proposed actions to the vice presidents and the president in January that they can discuss and see if they're feasible, and we'll have a longer list than that that they can also consider. But we're really going to focus on 2 or 3 meaningful changes that we can make that can be assessed.
One more announcement. I'm so sorry. We do have some SAFER brochures and some cards up here if anyone is interested in taking that information.
I'm done.
Okay, it looks like we're done. Thank you all so much.